It's about finding the common ground because the goal is Emmy in particular having that the best experience possible being a blended kid.
Your blended family has a 100% chance of success when you do it God's way.
We are Blended Kingdom Families, and we want to provide biblical resources to heal and restore families with a message of hope for the next generation.
Let's get after it.
Hey guys, welcome to the Blended Kingdom Families podcast. We're so glad that you are here with us today. If you haven't already, take an opportunity to like, share, comment, subscribe to our YouTube channel. And you guys, please leave us a review. We would love to get your feedback and any questions or topics that you would like for us to cover. We would love to answer those questions for you. So be sure to do that today. But I am so excited because I have the Dilworth family in the house today. Woohoo!
Thank you.
Yeah. So if you guys have been watching the last couple of episodes, Alex and I have done an episode on co-parenting and then also one on single parenting as well. But I'm excited, Marshall, to have you here with us to share your perspective and, to hear more about your blended family journey. But you guys, just a little bit about Marshall and Alex. So you guys have been married a couple of years and you have two kiddos. Yes. You have Em and Thatcher. So cute. Super, super cute. Alex works for the ministry as our event coordinator and project manager. And then Marshall, you work for Bosch, correct?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you guys, we're excited to have y'all here today. And I guess first, just tell us a little bit about your blended family, what you guys like to do, hobbies, things
Go
like
for
that.
it, babe.
Yeah. So we like being active, for one. So we're usually trying to be outside, do different things like that. Obviously, Thatcher being as young as he is, usually long walks with a stroller, but actually we love cooking together.
Yeah.
We do that a lot. That was one of the first things I actually did with Alex.
It was the first test.
I had many tests for her to make sure that, this would work, and that was one of them. But what else do we do?
That's about it.
Yeah. Eat and work out.
We are foodies.
Yeah.
Foodies?
Yeah.
Hey, I love food too. Scott loves food. We are foodies too.
Yeah.
We love working out as well. Yeah.
Yes.
And Alex always shares all the cooking stuff and the healthy things and all of that. So I love hearing about that at the office. It's good times.
Yes.
Good times. Well, you guys, I'm excited to talk today. So, this month's topic has been on co-parenting, and, a lot of us have healthy co-parenting relationships, but a lot of people in blended families have what we call high conflict co-parenting situations. And Alex and I have kind of talked through, some of the stuff that we've experienced in our co-parenting relationships. But I love that you're here with us today, Marshall, to kind of get your perspective as a spouse who is married to someone who maybe might have some issues in their co-parenting relationship, and really can just, give advice and support for those who are in that position of how you can help. And so one of the questions that I have for us today is, if your spouse and their co-parent, say they're not getting along or they're having a hard time finding resolution in a certain situation, can you just share with us, what you guys do, and maybe specifically, Marshall, being the spouse to support your spouse who's in that position? What are some healthy things that we can do to support one another in that?
Yeah. Take it away.
I thought I prayed a lot until I got into this scenario, and then I realized I still wasn't praying enough. I mean, that has to be key.
Yeah.
There's different challenges because in all my previous experiences, ultimately, if I didn't want to engage with someone, I didn't have to. And so stepping into that made my adjustment on how we figure that out together different, because you can't just walk away from the person.
Yeah.
And so probably the next biggest thing after praying is understanding legality, what's already set up. I didn't make any of those choices, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent. I don't have that involvement. And so it's about making sure we're respecting where that comes from, understanding where the law is sitting at the moment.
Yeah.
And then honestly, it turns into just encouraging my spouse. And sometimes that's, trying to encourage my spouse that this boundary is important.
Yeah.
Why it's important, where it protects our family unit.
That's good.
But encouraging them that, no, you don't have to listen to that kind of, whether it's an argument or kind of, just talking down to them or anything like that.
Yeah.
But you also can fight for your own boundary as well, or your own compromise. I think that's really important as well.
No, that's good. Alex, do you have anything to share with that?
Our thing is communication.
She thought she was a big communicator until we got together, and
I remember you
like
saying
to talk
that.
about everything all the time.
I love that. Well, and communication is so important, and in trying to establish what that is going to look like when you blend your families is hard. You know, I know Scott and I, when because I had been co-parenting with my ex and his wife for years before Michael had a stepfather, and before Scott came into the picture. And so when Scott came in, it was like, okay, there were 3 parents co-parenting. Now there's 4, and it completely changes the dynamic, and it does have an effect on your marriage as well, and with your communication with your spouse too, and what you're going to tolerate, what you're not going to tolerate, and adhering to those boundaries. And so I know, Alex, you shared before, like you had a hard time, as we all do, sticking to those boundaries. And so, Marshall, I would love to hear, like, coming into that. What were some of the steps that you took to make sure that you did adhere to those boundaries, and that you made sure that that what you were setting, that it wasn't going to affect your family, it wasn't going to affect your marriage, that it was going to be healthy?
That's a great question. I think one of the biggest things is I wanted to be able to step in and say, I am for this.
Yeah.
I am for our family. I'm for unity. I know you've talked about that before, but unity to me is a huge thing. I think the enemy does a fantastic job of disunity.
Yeah.
And it's easy amidst an argument or figuring out where boundaries, because that's always high intensity.
Yeah.
And so emotions are going to run high. But when she feels like she's backed up in a corner because they're trying to find some type of resolve.
Yeah.
If I don't approach her gently, and I didn't always do that. You said we've been married a couple of years, almost 2 years, but it seems like it's been a long time because you make those mistakes and you feel the effects of those mistakes. And so I think a big part has been learning how to approach her gently, learning how to approach both of them with humility. And again, I have not always done that. But saying, I'm for this, I'm for all of this. And ultimately, and you guys would know this too, it's about finding the common ground, because the goal is, Emmy in particular, having that the best experience possible being a blended kid. No,
that's so good. Man, I think you just worded that beautifully. And and our situations are very much alike, because Scott came into the picture and, he didn't have any children, and, he became instant dad, instant, stepdad, and learning how to co-parent with mine, and I think with men with men, it's a different, it can be a little different than mom and mom, and I know Scott has shared this before about how he approached my ex and how they just had this conversation and this dialogue of, hey, I'm not trying to replace you, I'm not trying to one-up you, like this is what I want to be for Michael and support your relationship. Just would love your thoughts on, how was that with you and with Alex's ex and M's dad whenever you guys blended?
We had a few conversations initially, especially, and this was even before we got married. Just being able to say, this is my intention.
That's good.
And had some of those conversations where, like you said, I'm not here to replace you. I'm here to be, and Emmy really early on would use the term bonus dad. Or step up dad, or there was something like that.
There's so many different terms. I know some people are like, we don't like step, we like bonus, or everyone has their own thing. But
and now it's just Marshall, so
But those were the things that I wanted to make sure I approached him and initiated some of that, and it was very. And these were some of the mistakes ended up happening. Was it was very easy to posture and kind of stick my chest out, because now I immediately am going like into protector mode, and also understanding that while part of my role is to protect, that is what God commands me to do, I'm not the ultimate protector either. And so being able to learn from those mistakes as we go through that, but still always trying to approach humbly.
No, that's good.
And that's a hard thing for a man to do.
It is. Well, and I love the way that you said that. And Alex, I would love to hear how you supported Marshall in that time and as he stepped into this position, because that's not hard. And I remember with Scott, like, I'm like, hey, we can't, like there were just some things he didn't know. He's like, Vanessa, I'm 36, 37 years old. I have never had children. Like, I don't know anything about this parenting thing. But Alex, what is some of the supportive or encouraging things that you tried to help Marshall with as he transitioned into that?
From the beginning, I think I really tried to steward the relationship and allowing the freedom of him to have his voice and them to have their own dialogue for themselves. And I don't really feel like I had to steer it per se. I wanted them to build their own relationship outside of me.
Yeah.
But then there have been times in our marriage where I'm just like, not today. Don't approach it, just not today.
Yeah.
We are a preteen girl and we are like this right now. And we can't get out of bed or, we gotta ground again and we're throwing a fit and she's throwing up shade and I'll just have to look at Marshall and go, okay, you can't approach her right now. We'll have to address it later.
Yeah.
And being the communicator, he's like, well, we need to talk about it right now.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm like,
It sits here until I get rid of it.
Yeah.
and it's, well, we got to take a step back and we have to breathe and allow her space because she's literally just trying to figure this out in her own brain right now.
Yeah.
So just give her a second and we will approach it. We will, have a consequence, but it's a lot of, no, not today.
Yeah. Well, and that's good too, and I'm sure that there are a lot of people listening right now that are in this situation, whether they're this exact situation or it's vice versa, because we know blended families are so unique and dynamic, that may be struggling with this, and they're hearing what you're saying and hearing what you're saying, Marshall. They're like, okay, like that makes sense, or it's an encouragement to them. And so, I mean, I would, Marshall, like if anyone is in your position and they're coming into this kind of blindly, and they're really struggling, because I know that there's a lot of stepdads walk into these situations where, and I know for Scott and I, so I'll speak out of our experience, there was a lot going on at that time. And Scott could have easily have thrown up his hands and been like, you know what, this isn't for me, I'm out, peace out, but he didn't. And so I think that there's probably a lot of stepdads and even stepmoms that come into that where they're dealing with, some co-parenting issues, high conflict, whatever you want to call it. What would you just want to encourage them with, or just tell them right now if they're listening and watching?
Probably one of the biggest things is you have to, especially for a man, you've got to approach humbly. I continued to find that as the best offense.
Yeah.
And I think one of the other things is I was listening to another pastor, and something that really stuck with me was, as the father, I am the first servant. And so that goes hand in hand with the humbly part, but making sure that I am posturing myself that is open arms, almost knee down, where I am serving and I'm willing to get on my knees to do what is important for my family. Yeah. And sometimes that serving is strong, setting those boundaries as we're talking about, but most often it's about removing my flesh and kind of letting that pride go and just staying humble.
That's good. And Alex, for anyone that's listening that is in your situation and they have that step parent, so to speak, that needs that support, what would you want to encourage them with?
I think the biggest thing I learned was I have to be prayerful over him. He needs his heart and mind guarded just as much as I do.
Yeah.
And do I do it all the time? No. Should I? Yes. Working on it. But it's really, he's words of affirmation. I know his love languages, and so words of affirmation is one of his top 3. And it's, you're doing a great job. Like, I know this is a really stinky season and she is all over the place, but like, you have my support.
Yeah.
I know I'm angry. I'm not angry at you. I'm angry at the situation.
Yeah.
And I have to go humble myself and sometimes ask for forgiveness too. And I say sometimes because it's not all the time I ask for forgiveness.
Yeah.
But I am wrong. And so I have to go ask for forgiveness and say, okay, let's start over.
Yeah.
Let's, reapproach this correctly, unified as one. And we can do it.
Yeah. Well, and what I hear you both saying is just it's unity, and it's just being that team. Like you're a team. You know, we're a team, and we're going to fight together as a team. We're going to marriage together as a team. We're going to parent together as a team, and co-parent as a team.
Yeah, you wait 10 years, and you get a team. You get a team.
You get a team. No,
That's right.
I absolutely love that. Well, I know we're coming to the end of our time, and Alex, I know you've answered this question, but it's the staple question for all of our guests, Marshall, and it's, what does a blended kingdom family mean to you?
Being a blended kingdom family, I probably should have thought of that one ahead of time.
You should have.
Yeah. Honestly, it's about stepping forward in servanthood towards each other, fighting for unity. That's been the biggest thing for us. And the intention is to be in it for the long haul.
Yeah.
And so the yes is easy, not always smooth, but the yes is easy, and you stay in for the long haul.
Yeah. No, that's good. I love that. And I love always hearing everybody's answers. And it's so different. I want to put them all, like piece them all together over the years. Totally. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. Well, you guys, thank you so much for joining us today. And again, please leave us a comment or review. Tell us what you're loving about the podcast so that it can encourage others who are looking for these same type of resources. But you guys, we hope you have a wonderful and blessed day. Be blessed in all that you do.
Hey guys, so glad you were here with us today, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode.
And you can find more resources from Blended Kingdom Families at blendedkingdomfamilies.com. Join us again next time as we hang out with more amazing podcast guests. And remember, nothing will be impossible with God.